A threat at Ohio University is causing a lockdown at a dining hall. Electing new Board of Education members could mean a new plan for Athens City Schools.
And in sports, 3 Ohio University teams began their season over the weekend. We'll give you the results. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
A federal grand jury is charging former assistant prosecutor of Athens County, Mickey A. Priestley, with 8 charges connected to tax fraud and theft of government money. Good evening, I'm Chelsea Sick. Thanks for joining us. Newswatch reporter Jacob Solleather is live from the Athens County Courthouse to tell us what the indictment entails.
Chelsea, former Athens County prosecutor Mickey Priestley is accused of submitting false claims of income tax refunds and theft of government money. According to a news release, one of Priestley's accomplices would get identification information of real people in order to claim them as dependents. Priestley then would allegedly receive the tax refund checks and deposit them into his bank accounts. He would then receive drugs and controlled substances in a trade-off for cashing the refund checks. Prosecutors also allege Priestley supplied others with false power of attorney forms so that his accomplices could get the refund checks without the victim's knowledge. Now, Priestley previously worked for the Athens County Commissioner's Office from 2011 to 2014. Now acting as Athens County Prosecuting Attorney Kellen Blackburn said that he was released and terminated for unrelated reasons. Reporting live for Newswatch, I'm Jacob Solleather.
Thanks, Jacob. For more information on the indictment, you can go to woub.org. A Meigs County banker will spend 12 months in prison and 6 months on home confinement for stealing more than $300,000 from a bank ATM. The U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District of Ohio, released a statement saying Bobby A. Holter of Racine was sentenced in the U.S. District Court. Holter was branch manager and teller supervisor at the Walmart and Stimson Avenue branches of the Citizens Bank of Logan in Athens for about 10 years. Security footage shows Holter entering the Walmart branch before it opened, removing the cash cassette from the ATM, then replacing it. She did this at least 24 times. The thorough audit discovered 60 cash shortages. The Athens Board of Education voted in 2016 to remove the single campus elementary school, or mega school, from its facilities master plan. With numerous candidates for the Board of Education and the City Council on the ballot tomorrow, any new plan is possible. Reporter Steve.
As of today, all of the schools in the city of Athens stand tall, and students are attending classes as usual. But the final decision on the school facilities will rest on whoever gets elected to both the school board and the city council on election day. The Board of Ed has a very contested election this year, with 7 total candidates vying for only 3 seats. According to Superintendent Thomas Gibbs, the board verbally agreed on a compromise last board meeting that would involve 2 new pre-K to 3rd grade schools, 1 4th through 6th grade school, and keeping the middle school and high school as they are now. But looking towards the election on Tuesday, Gibbs said anything is on the table.
I think a couple of the people running for the board are comfortable with the compromise plan that the board has most recently discussed. But I know that there are a couple of people running for the board that are very strong advocates of small schools, of maintaining the 4 elementary schools.
Meanwhile, the Athens City Council has 5 candidates competing for another 3 seats, with all 3 current members running for re-election. Council President Christine Nisley said the council will focus on assisting the Board of Ed with resourcing.
Primarily with information, I think is a good role for us right now, unless we would be asked to become further involved in some way.
Gibbs says he plans to reach a decision before April 1st of next year in order to land state aid.
We have the potential to receive up to 32% of the money for renovations and or new builds, depending on what the final master plan is.
For WOUB, I'm Stephen Hernandez.
Superintendent Gibbs says the current board was not considering renovating existing school buildings, but nothing has been officially voted on. A Chillicothe City Schools administrator has been indicted on 7 felonies involving sex with 2 teenage females who were students. Jeffrey Fisher was issued a summons by a Ross County grand jury Friday on 7 counts of sexual battery. The 2 students were 16 and 17 years old at the time and have since graduated. Ross County prosecutor Matt Schmidt says the investigation lasted nearly 3 months. If convicted, Fisher faces 1 to 5 years in prison on each charge. Nelson Dining Hall is still on lockdown after Ohio University police arrested a man this afternoon for making terroristic threats towards dining hall employees. 38-year-old dining hall employee Curtis Embray threatened to take down himself and other employees, prompting police to take him into custody without incident. Embray was transported to the Southeast Ohio Regional Jail. An Ohio University student has been indicted by an Athens County grand jury on 2 counts of rape. 23-year-old Roxanne Kofi Osei was arrested in Franklin County on Thursday for the alleged rape of an OU student on January 10th in Athens. Osei is scheduled to appear in Athens County Common Pleas Court tomorrow for arraignment. If he is convicted, he could face 3 to 11 years in prison.
From the Newswatch Weather Center, I'm forecaster Ethan Emery, and today was quite a gloomy and wet day out there, but we take a look on 32 down to Jackson, see our friends over in Jackson County, Ohio, where currently it's 50 degrees out there, still kind of damp and cloudy out there, but the winds out of the northeast about 7 miles per hour, bringing that nice cool air with that humidity still high at 83% and that pressure at 30.15 inches. And across the region, temperatures are still in the lower 50s with that cloud cover holding it down. The next couple of hours, though, should be still seeing those temperatures in the upper 40s with that cloud cover sticking around. But look at this picture from earlier today from Connor Belak out the Hocking River this morning. The river was almost at 13 feet and near flooding stage, but it did not quite reach it like other people did see across Athens County. But the next couple of hours, though, should be seeing temperatures going into the upper 40s and cloudy conditions still in the area. While we were receiving flash flooding warnings all night long, the same storm caused major damages in one northeastern Ohio community. As Paula Kiska explains, residents are struggling to clean up destroyed homes and businesses.
As a line of severe storms raced through the area, downtown LaGrange in Lorain County took a direct hit. Several businesses suffered extensive damage.
Backside of the wall here is blown out.
Lee Grissinger built this building 15 years ago. It's home to the Trendsetters Beauty Salon and an accounting firm. The building had a side wall blown out. The back of the building is bowed, and most of the roof was blown off.
The only thing holding the roof on right now is one corner, and if that corner comes loose, more than likely the roof's going to come down.
Lee isn't sure, but believes all of this damage could have been caused by a tornado.
I would think a tornado, but they're probably, I would say we had real high winds because there's a lot of stuff gone. The building next door is missing a roof. What a mess.
Jason Raber is the manager of LaGrange Hardware, where a large section of the roof was ripped off as the storms blew through. Part of the metal roof left twisted around a power pole.
Terrible storm come through, winds, just a mess. We lost a third of our roof off the back of the store.
Across from the hardware store, the roof was blown off an ice cream shop as well. Power lines and trees are down throughout the area.
They talk tornadoes and stuff. I don't know. I don't know if it's a tornado or high winds or what it was, but sheet metal, we got part of our roof took out the power lines. It's all scattered across the neighborhood. Power lines down. And thankfully nobody got hurt.
Now, most of the town also dealt with power outages last night, and fortunately, we didn't have to worry about that around here in Athens, Chelsea.
All right, thanks for the update, Ethan. Kentucky's Republican House Speaker is resigning in the midst of sexual harassment claims. Jeff Hoover announced his decision on Sunday. He denied sexually harassing the staff member, but says that he did send inappropriate text messages that were consensual.
But as inappropriate as those text messages were, I want to reiterate that at no time did I engage in unwelcome or unwanted conduct of any kind. And at no time were there ever any sexual relations of any kind.
Hoover says although he gave up his leadership position, he plans on remaining in the legislature. Coming up, Texas police continue to investigate the worst mass shooting in Texas history. Plus, the latest on the attack that left Senator Rand Paul with 5 broken ribs. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming. It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is. The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
After declaring there will be no terrorism investigation, police continue to search for reasons behind a small town church shooting in Texas that killed 26 people and injured many more. Karen Kafa brings the latest from Sutherland Springs.
Be with us, dear, as we learn to deal with this.
Another American community in shock Sunday after a gunman opened fire on a church service in Texas, killing more than 24 people.
We are dealing with the largest mass shooting in our state's history. There's so many families who've lost family members.
The First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs is a small congregation, as you can see in this video from a service recorded a week before the shooting. A worker at a nearby convenience store heard the shots ring out.
We were flabbergasted. There's just no reason for something like that to take place, especially here where everybody's family.
Investigators say the gunman shot people both inside and outside the church and continued his assault until an armed neighbor intervened. Police say the suspect fled and that they later found him dead inside his vehicle.
At this time, we don't know if it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound or if he was shot by our local resident who engaged him in gunfire.
President Trump is in Japan, the first stop of his tour of Asia, but says he is keeping an eye back home.
Through the tears and through the sadness, we stand strong, oh so strong.
As investigators search for a motive and neighbors search for their own answers. I'm Andy Rose reporting.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott called the massacre the worst mass shooting in Texas history. Police are continuing to investigate a fatal shooting in a Philadelphia neighborhood yesterday that killed one teenager and injured another. The neighborhood came together last night to organize a vigil to remember the 16-year-old that died. A 12-year-old was shot in the leg and is expected to survive. Officials say the two teens were sitting on a front porch when the shots were fired. Neighbors expressed their concerns about the safety of the neighborhood.
We got to gather up as a family. We must stop the violence.
They should be able to play on the block. They should be able to play. They should be able to come outside their house and not have to worry about this.
There is no word on a possible suspect yet. Police are asking the public for help in finding the person responsible for the shooting. Disgraced former Congressman Anthony Weiner has reported to federal prison in Massachusetts today. The 53-year-old was sentenced back in September to 21 months to federal prison for sexting with a minor. The charge stems from social media chats Weiner had with a 15-year-old girl early last year. In addition to the prison term, Weiner will also serve 3 years of supervised release. Under terms of his probation, he must register as a sex offender. Weiner will also participate in an outpatient sex offender treatment program. Senator Rand Paul is recovering from an attack that left him with 5 broken ribs and lung injuries on Friday. The GOP senator was assaulted at his home by a neighbor, according to Kentucky State Police. A motive is not yet known. According to a police statement, Paul told officers the suspect, Renee Boucher, tackled him from behind, forcing him to the ground. The FBI and U.S. Capitol Police are investigating. A tornado in Mercer County left 8 injured and businesses torn apart. That story is still ahead.
Cloudy tonight, but then chances of rain again tomorrow. Find out the details next on Newswatch. But first, here's a look at stocks of local interest.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Well, welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm forecaster Ethan Emery, and today was a damp and cool day out there. You can see the highs only reached 60 degrees out there, and that low is actually what we're seeing at right now at 51 degrees. And the amount of rainfall we saw since midnight, 1.68 inches. That's quite a bit of rain for this time of the year. In fact, it might have broken a record. We'll find about that tonight later on. And the normal, we were about normal for the high, but the normal low, we were quite above the average for that, and the record's untouched. And you see the sunrise and sunset, a little bit different from last week because we did hit daylight savings time. And we're seeing weather headlines. Pretty much the chances of rain are coming back into the forecast for tomorrow. Another disturbance makes its way through the area. But we will see drying out conditions for the rest of the week. And temperatures do fall below average for this time of the year. And next couple of hours, though, not below average because we're seeing those temperatures falling into the upper 40s. So by 8 o'clock, cloud cover still in the area at about 48 degrees. And into the mid to lower 40s at midnight. And then rain chances do come into play after around 4 a.m. with mostly cloudy skies. And then overnight lows, we're seeing temperatures fall down into the lower 40s. So we have 42 over in Columbus, 41 in Jackson, and 40 degrees here in Athens with cloudy skies, and the chances of rain do come in after 4 a.m. So if you're making your way onto work early in the morning, make sure you grab an umbrella for that, and those winds fairly light out of the north. And it's all in part to this little disturbance down here along the south and east, and it's going to make its way through, bringing us more chances of rain into tomorrow. But you see right up here, this high pressure, yeah, that's going to bring some colder air coming in the latter half of the week. So tomorrow morning, get the umbrella, get the jacket for your kids because it's going to be pretty wet. So rain boots and umbrella, 41 degrees for a morning low, northeast about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And throughout the day, just sopping wet from 8 a.m. to noon. Temperatures only in the low to mid 40s. And then by 4 o'clock, the rain should be tapering off just a little bit with temperatures going into the upper 40s. And so if you're going out to vote, temperatures should reach 49 degrees for a daytime high. Showers mainly early, so anytime after about 1 or 2 o'clock, those showers should be tapering off. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. And those winds be a little breezy out there out of the north and east, about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now, you're voting tomorrow, but then on Wednesday, we do have the Bobcats coming in at Peden Stadium playing Toledo. Should be dry for that game just in time for the kickoff at 7 o'clock. You will need to get the coats, gloves, and some hot drinks like hot cocoa or coffee because that'll be a cold game to see at Peden Stadium. 7-day forecast, though, like I said, it's going to get cold because tomorrow, 49 degrees for a high, Wednesday, 50 degrees, and then Thursday and Friday, temperatures going down to from the upper 40s on Thursday to 39 degrees for Friday. And then for Veterans Day on Saturday, 47 degrees. And then for next week, temperatures still around 50 degrees, Chelsea.
All right, thanks, Ethan. 8 people are recovering from injuries after a possible tornado tore through a small Ohio city. Mercer County officials say 6 people were hurt in a restaurant in Salina that was damaged on Sunday during severe weather. 1 person was hurt in a car crash after a utility pole fell, and 1 was injured at another business. The National Weather Service says it's expected that 2 separate tornadoes struck the county along the Indiana border, damaging several businesses.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Nick Niehaus, and coming up we have all the local high school football playoff scores from last Friday night. And the OU men's basketball team tied up their laces for their first exhibition game of the season. We have results from that game and more coming up next on Newswatch. And stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back. I'm Nick Niehaus. Last Friday marked the first week of the playoffs for high school football, and there were a handful of local schools in the mix. In Division 7, we had two local teams in the first round. First, the Trimble Topcats traveled to Lucasville and won by just 1 point to keep their season alive. Heavy favorite Waterford hosted Sciotaville Community and lost. This one 16-8. Nelsonville York remained alive in the Division 6 bracket with a 34-0 victory against Shadyside, and Jackson High School saw their season come to an end with a 32-7 loss to Independence. Moving to the college ranks, Ohio University quarterback Nathan Rourke had himself a pretty good week, taking home 3 weekly awards from his performance against Ohio rival Miami last Tuesday. Rourke was named MAC East Offensive Player of the Week by the MAC for the 3rd time so far this season. He was also named for the same award by collegesportsmadness.com. And lastly, he was named a Manning Award Star of the Week. He leads the MAC and is 2nd nationally in overall scoring and rushing touchdowns. He'll face off against Toledo Wednesday night. Moving on to the players who get paid to play, the Cincinnati Bengals traveled to Jacksonville in a game that they hoped would spark a comeback in the standings. Those hopes would quickly dwindle away as their offensive struggles were very much alive. The Bengals only had 148 yards in total offense, the worst output they've had in 3 years. Jacksonville didn't have the same issues as they put up 23 points to Cincinnati's 7 to get the victory. The Bengals will have to go on the road again next week when they face the Tennessee Titans. The Ohio University wrestling team began their 2017 season Sunday at the Virginia Tech Hokie Open. The Bobcats had 2 top 5 finishes at the meet. Junior Cameron Kelly took 2nd place in the 133-pound class after 3 straight victories, 2 by major decisions and 1 by a technical fall. He would lose in the finals by a 9-7 decision, however. Zach Parker also had a good day for the Bobcats, finishing 4th in the 285-pound class. He had 2 straight victories before falling to a Stanford wrestler on a 3-5 decision. Another OU team began their season this weekend as well. The OU men's basketball team had their first exhibition game of the season when they hosted Capital University. The Bobcats seemed to have that rust shaken off from last season as they took down the Capital Crusaders 80-57. Graduate transfer from Florida Gulf Coast University, Kevin Mickle led all Bobcats in scoring with 19 points from the field. The Bobcats as a team dominated on the glass, pulling down 52 rebounds to Capital's 28. The Bobcats will open the regular season this Saturday against Alabama A&M. Another OU basketball team also squared off this weekend in an exhibition game. The Lady Bobcats hosted Walsh University, but would not have the same result as the men's as they fell 82-66. The Bobcats started all 5 of the freshmen on their roster, and only 2 returners from last season's squad saw the floor. Freshman Alexis Stover led the Lady Bobcats in scoring with 17 points while knocking down 3 threes. This is the only exhibition on the Lady Bobcats schedule as they open up their season this Sunday when they play High Point University. I'm Nick Niehaus, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Ethan.
Well, thanks, Nick. Tomorrow for voting, temperatures should be in the upper 40s with rain chances mostly in the morning and afternoon hours. And then from Wednesday on Thursday, temperatures going down into the lower 50s. And then Chelsea, look at Friday, 39 degrees for a high. Whew, it's pretty cold.
It's going to be pretty chilly, Ethan. Thank you. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Chelsea Sick. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.